okay? I am no stranger to events like this. I was 9 years old. My grandpa calls me up on the phone, and I'm the oldest grandchild. I'm the favorite. He says to me, Connor, what are you doing on Tuesday? I said, I don't know, Grandpa, the third grade. And he says, Jim Rohn and Zig Ziglar are coming to speak downtown at this event. You've got to come with me. Will you come? And I said, well, I got to talk to my mom. And he says, I'll handle that. Come with me. So I remember going with my grandpa to listen to these speakers. I'm sitting on the second row about right there. And when you're 9 years old and you're like paying attention, an iPad wasn't a thing back then, right? But I'm taking notes. I'm fully in. You get a little bit of attention from the speakers on stage. I'm going to pay that forward right now. I want to know who my youngest person in the audience out there is. Let me hear you. If you are under 18 years old, will you make a little noise? All right, I got like 6 of you. Let's find the youngest person. Do I have anyone under 16? 15. Can anyone beat 15 going once? Wait, what is that woo? Are you under 15 or not? Okay, what's our age? Back there, give it to me. 14. Sorry, you're beat. Future leader right there. Hey, how old? 14, it's a tie. Tie goes to the runner. Now listen, 13, okay, you win. Folks, here's my point. I sat there, I left that event, I was fired up, right? I felt all this energy. And I told my grandpa, I'm like, I love that. So what does my grandpa do? He got a little overzealous, and the next day he shows up at my house with 16 cassette tapes of Jim Rohn's most popular talks, lectures, all of this, right? And he's like, here, Connor, you're gonna love it. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I put the first one in, and no offense to Jim Rohn, I love him, but I'm 10 minutes in, and I'm checked out. Why? Because what I loved so much was the energy of that live event. What I loved was sitting in an audience and not only feeling the energy and the motivation from the speaker up here, but feeling the energy from the connection of the people around me. Now, folks, Aspire understands that the problem with an event like this is you get all fired up, ready to go. You've got a notebook full of incredible notes. And let's be real. How many of you are a little bit worried that the amount of energy that you had when David Goggins dropped the mic and was carrying the boats this afternoon is not going to be the same tomorrow morning when you go to get to work? Can I see your hands? How many of you actually had the thought here today, okay, this is great, but what next? What am I actually going to do with this? If you haven't had that thought yet, I promise you, you're gonna have it tomorrow. You're gonna have it Monday morning. And then more importantly than anything else, you're probably gonna sit there and go, how do I get this feeling of the people around me when I go home? How many of you have met someone here today? I wanna hear some noise that you feel like could be a good business connection for you. Make some noise. Most of you in the room. I would guess that if you just talked to your individual row, you would have more connections than a lot of you could just find on a typical day. Now, Aspire gets that. We actually, after every event, send out a survey and ask, what could we do better? How can you help us? And we hear the same story over and over. Yeah, I loved this day. But how can we stay in touch? How can we keep this going? What do we do next? So that's what I'm going to show you right now. Now, I think one of the biggest challenges for any business owner in today's world is to overcome that line of thinking you see on the board. We hear people talk about old school versus new school. Am I right? And we talk about them as if they're mutually exclusive. As if they are competitive against each other. Are you old school or new school? No, that's not it. People that are winning in today's world are the ones that understand that the basic principles of human behavior, human connection, communication, learning, they don't change all that much. You've got to get really, really good at those basics and those skills and then figure out how to apply them in today's world. that mentality doesn't quite cut it. In fact, I'll prove this. Nothing you've really heard on this stage today has been that revolutionary or that new. How many of you have read at least one of those 3 books on the screen right there? Make some noise. All right. How many of you have read all 3 for extra credit? Did you notice they were all in the front? I love it. Folks, those books were written almost 100 years ago. As a Man Thinketh was written in 1903, but they still sell millions of copies and are read every day. Why? Because, well, just because social media is around doesn't make How to Win Friends and Influence People any less relevant to our world today. The question is, how do you take those principles? How do you apply them today? And I think you all know that our methods of communication, our methods of connection have changed in just about every way imaginable since those books were written. In 90 seconds, let's take a little tour through history. Watch this. How many of you ever sent an OG text message, a telegram? Crickets, I didn't think so. That's what they were sending when those books were written, right? The radio was where people got their news, where they listened to their entertainers. They listened to Seabiscuit in the Race, and they listened to FDR's Fireside Chats. Then the whole world changed. The minute the television was invented, we entered the visual age, and suddenly we could see it. It took the world by storm. In 1946, there were 6,000 homes in America that had a television set. By 1951, just 5 years later, there were over 12 million. Well, all of a sudden now you're going to start to feel maybe a little bit more relevance here. Did any of you have parents that took home movies, and yeah, I said that right, home movies of you on a camera like that? Raise your hands. I see some hands. Were any of you the parents taking those videos? I got some boomers in the crowd. I love it. All right. Now listen, how many of you listen to your artists, those favorite tunes you heard first on vinyl, on a record player? Make some noise. All right. I'm going to bring back some PTSD for a few of you. How many of you took type class in middle school or high school? Do I have anyone that was an overachiever and could type 150 words per minute? Again, they're all in the front. I'm sensing a theme. Then the world changed when the computer came around, the Walkman, and then the internet. The internet changed everything. And that seems so long ago, but if you think about it, you can almost hear it, right?
You've got mail.
There it is. Hey, get off the phone. I'm doing an assignment, Mom. Listen, that wasn't that long ago. All of a sudden, our phone became mobile. Then this thing called social media. Who in this room has a MySpace? No way. I asked that in the present tense. All right. Now listen, all of a sudden social media was taken over by Facebook. The cell phone got a lot more cool, the iPod's around, and now you know you have more technology on your wrist than other generations could have dreamt of. Folks, one of your biggest challenges as a business owner today is this. How do you figure out how to master the basic elements of sales, of communication, of growth, and how do you win in today's world? That's what I've spent the last 7 years building businesses around. Hit up that QR code, send me a message, tell me you're from Dallas, and I want you to tell me what you do. I want you to tell me, network with me. You've all had the chance to network with everyone else. Why not network with someone here on this stage? Shoot me a message, okay? I help subject matter experts, leaders, entrepreneurs take all of these basics and win in today's world. And here's why I'm on this stage right now. Aspire has done just that. Now, today's event, as state-of-the-art as it looks, as big as this screen is, I gotta be real with you, it's old school. Why is it old school? Y'all took a shower this morning. You got out of bed, you put pants on, you probably shook someone's hand. We're not on Zoom, you're connecting with others. But here's what we recognized. If all we do is events like this, then the next time you see us is next year when we come back around with another awesome lineup of speakers. We haven't done all that much for you.